A lot of networks that are secular in nature like ours will pay lip service to religion and to God, but we actually believe it. And that's why tomorrow is a full hour. I sit down and speak with Billy Graham's incredible daughter and good friend now, Ruth Graham. Tomorrow night on this program, 5 p.m. I want to show you just a clip real quick.
How do we get people to play nice with each other?
Oh, Glenn. I don't know. I don't know. We have such division, not only in our political world, but in our Christian world, our religious world. And I know that that breaks Jesus' heart. For me, to try to live as best as I can, as following Jesus, I don't want to draw lines. I want to include people. And if in that inclusion I gather in some black sheep, well and good. But I'd rather err on the side of grace than I would on judgment. I just am not going to stand in judgment on other people.
I tell you, I just love her. I had her in my home, and after this interview, we had dinner, and we studied the Bible at dinner every night, and having Ruth Graham there to help, and I was kind of like, and that's what that means, kids, right? But fascinating conversation. That's tomorrow for the full hour. Now, on the God front, a couple of weeks ago, it was Valentine's night, and my wife and I went to see a movie called A Winter's Tale. A lot of people, it's kind of one of those movies that you either love or hate, and my wife and I really loved it. It's an incredible story about love. Well, maybe it is, or is it about God? The movie was directed by Akiva Goldsman, who joins me now from London. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks, Glenn. How are you doing?
Very good. You know, your movie is one of those movies that I saw on some website that, like, the critics were panning it, the people who went to see it liked it. My wife and I really liked it.
Thank you. And
I wondered if it was because that critics don't necessarily understand the God message in it, because in some ways you're very upfront about God, but in other ways it's buried all the way through it.
Well, far be it from me to know what is in someone else's heart or head. Although late at night reading reviews, one starts to imagine. One thing I can say about Winter's Tale is it's pretty shamelessly uncynical. It is, certainly for me, it's a Hail Mary towards faith.
Yeah. Why? It's the best faith movie, unexpected faith movie. You know, I can go to a faith movie and expect to get, I'll get the usual. This one came out of nowhere, and it's unlike any other faith movie I've seen. Why? Where's this coming from with you?
For me, it was very personal. It's based on a book by a fellow named Mark Halperin that I've loved for many years, which I could never quite figure out how to adapt, and I've been lucky enough to adapt a bunch of things over the course of my life. And a few years ago, my wife died very suddenly at the age of 42. It was one of those "I'll see you tonight, honey," and I never saw her alive again. And that was enough for me. I was kind of done, and when I decided not to be done, I came back to this, and I wrote it as a way of trying to imagine and connect the dots of what I think of as the world behind the world.
I will tell you that I saw the movie with my wife, and then I took my staff to go see the movie here in New York. So I've seen it twice, and what you just said makes me want to see it again. Because it for people who have doubt on do I even have a reason for living, it really explains it. Can you answer this question? The people I went to see it with, some people said, I don't know what that was, because is it a devil story? Is it a God-devil story? Is it a love story? Because at one point, and a strange casting choice. You have Will Smith playing the devil, which in both times I've seen it, people laughed, and then like 45 seconds later, he becomes Satan, and it is truly frightening. Did you get a lot of pushback on trying to do a really sweet, tender, beautiful love story? Gosh, it makes me cry now knowing that about your wife. You did a good job.
I appreciate that.
But to mix those two together, you must have gone through hell.
I mean, interestingly and ironically, I think that it actually, for everybody who was involved in making it, it was sort of exactly what it seems to be, which is an open-hearted attempt to find meaning, which is not typical of movies, certainly not today and not mainstream. I think everybody was sort of shocked, I know I was, by the kind of the mainstream critic reactions to it, which were so sort of vitriolic. And so strangely, the making of it, although complex and sort of done a little bit more on a song than you might imagine based on who's in the movie, was wonderful. But the critical reaction was not what I don't think. Any of us expected.
I would take. Look, not everybody's going to like the movie because there were things in it that I went. I don't know if I get that, but it was enough for me to walk out of the theater with my wife. And we both felt really good, and we loved the message of the story. Take solace in the fact that go back and read all of the reviews of anything Frank Capra did. For some reason, the critics don't like, and what you said is so true, something that isn't cynical. They just hate that.
Yeah, I don't know why, and it's so antithetical to what I believe is the lesson life gives us.
Yeah.
I mean, I would sort of put myself toe-to-toe with a lot of people when it comes to reasons to be cynical, and faith is a choice.
Please see it. It's a Winter's Tale. Please see it in movie theaters. Back in